From track star to coach, wife to mother, Bethany Blomquist has had quite a journey before and after joining the APU family. Blomquist has been a lifelong runner, competing in high school, college, and even an attempt for the Olympic trials, bringing experience, insight, and inspiration to people around her. Along her collegiate career, she was Big West champion in the steeplechase for a consecutive 2 years and also qualified for Division I Outdoor Nationals 2 years in a row, running a personal record of 10:11 in 2008. Post-collegiately, she strived to reach the Olympic trials in 2012, where the standard was 9:55.
So I had torn my labrum right after college, so rehabbing from that took about 2 years. I always did one steeple at a low-key meet at the beginning of the season just to get reintroduced to the barriers and what it felt like again, and things. I ran a little bit faster than I thought I would, and a few weeks later I went up to Stanford and I ran 10:05, and I was like, okay, wow. So I didn't really know how fit I was, but that 10:05 indicated that, especially being early in the season, that I was ready to run pretty fast. So that 10:05 was a huge jump for me, just confidence-wise, going into the rest of the season. So early May, a good friend of mine, not my coach, but a good friend of mine ended up passing away suddenly and unexpected, and it was devastating. And this was like a week before I was supposed to race that I was trying to hit the trials time at. And I just remember, it's hard to think back to all the emotions that went around that race of just dealing with his death. And he was a triathlete, so he understood the running world. So he and I talked about running all the time. And so I just remember going down to this race at Occidental College, and I'm like, okay, Alex, this is what we've been training for, and this is where I want to do it. And I've never broken 10. But so he, North Carolina was his favorite team. So I wore a little light blue ribbon in my hair for, just in honor of him. And so there were just so many feelings and emotions. I had taken the job at APU, but I hadn't started working at APU yet. But I knew a bunch of the athletes, so a lot of them came to the meet because it's kind of right down the street. My family came, and so it's just this crazy, everyone knew that this is what I had been training for. And so I just remember being super nervous. I knew it was going to hurt really bad. But I also knew that if I had a shot, this was it. Unfortunately, I fell short of 9:55, but I broke 10 for the first time, which is a huge barrier. And I mean, steeplechase has kind of taken off in the years since then, but to be a female breaking 10 in the steeple at that time was a big deal. And I ended up 2 spots out from qualifying for the trials. So I think it was less than 1 second faster than me made it to the trials, and I had just missed it. But I knew that I had given everything that I had, and as a runner, that's really all you can do when you've put everything into something and you walk away knowing that there's nothing else you could have done. It just unfortunately didn't fall my way to qualify for the trials, but to be that close and to really get that sub 10 mark, I remember finishing the race and just collapsing and crying. It was just all the emotions of breaking 10, of missing Alex, of having all my friends there. I just remember it being one of the most emotional post-race experiences that I've had. So yeah, I get chills just thinking about it again.
After chasing the Olympic trials and just falling short, Blomquist was crushed by emotions and unsure of the future. That was until she started her job at APU, where she met her future husband just a few months later. After meeting him in fall of 2012, the couple got married in 2014, and Bethany got the running bug once again.
What if I go for 2016, try to make the trials again? So we made another run at it. Didn't come as close, came close, but not as close. I'm thankful for a supportive husband that that put up with a lot, and just, he would love to go have panda for dinner, and I wanted to have chicken or so, simple things like that. But even just he would bike alongside me on workouts because I needed accountability, and I hated running by myself. So he was super supportive of that. But kind of after 2016, I just I didn't have it in me, the emotional energy in me anymore to just really commit to what it took to commit to. I stayed fit enough to still be able to train with the girls at APU and kind of jump in workouts with them and pace them whenever they needed someone. So that was really fun. And I found a lot of joy in that, and that made running a lot of fun. Obviously, I had a baby in 2020, so that put kind of running on the wayside. And then it's kind of, to be honest, it's been a struggle to get back into it after that. I just don't have the passion for running that I did. You know, I have so many other priorities in life.
The whole time that I've known her, she's been a competitive runner. And so a new world to me, really getting an inside look about what it takes was cool to see. And, you know, to support her as she continued her really elite running post-college. You know, running is very emotional. I never realized that before, but it's not easy to put everything into your training, and physically I knew it was, I mean, this is tough. What she was doing, very, very difficult physically, but emotionally it's challenging. So for me, really just to try and encourage her through challenging times, but then celebrate great stuff as well. And, you know, through 2016, you know, we traveled. We went up to Oregon as she was chasing the qualifier for USA's, and those were exciting times. But you know, at the end of the day, she missed out by just a little bit, and that was heartbreaking. You know, it was tough for her. It was tough for me to see her put everything out there, and just be a little short. But that's, you know, that's the nature of it. And she's not the only one that was a little short of making the standard. So it was a great journey and really strengthened our relationship to be able to go through something like that together to support her was a privilege.
As the years went on, she ran in the Boston Marathon in 2021, a few 5Ks here and there, and a half marathon just a few weeks ago in San Diego. However, she did say it was harder for her to run now as a natural competitor and not being able to run at the paces she once was able to.
And I think that's the great thing about running is you can kind of make it whatever level you're at is where you can be. And I'm, you know, 10 years out of college and I can still do it. A lot of sports, people can't say that. When they're done college, they're done. So I'm thankful for that and thankful for the opportunity to be able to do it at whatever level I'm at.
I think Bethany is a great role model. I think she's pretty awesome. And to show us that you can continue to be a boss lady even outside of athletics and continue the athletic career. I remember having a SAC meeting and she was training for either the Boston Marathon or a different type of marathon. And knowing that when you leave from being an athlete, that it doesn't just stop there. You can continue to push yourself in other athletic and as well as in your career. So she just really shows us that you can strive to be better in every single area.
Prior to her chase for the Olympic trials, her collegiate journey wasn't easy, as she faced a torn labrum in her hip during her senior year and struggled with an eating disorder. But despite the hardships along the way, Blomquist said she wouldn't trade her experiences for the world because they molded her into who she is today.
I think that's one of the biggest things. I think my college journey prepared me for a life in a profession in athletics. I've experienced a lot, not everything, but I think that was kind of one thing, graduating, not having reached all of the goals that I wanted to reach and having some of the challenges and the hiccups that I had. I knew like what I could have done differently, or I also knew like the things that happen or the things that student athletes are facing. And if I could be a small voice that could help them either learn faster or not go through some of the things that I had to go through, that's what I wanted to do, was to just use my experiences, the good and the bad, to help others in their careers as their student athletes and in their time in college.
So just talking about your involvement with student athletes, where did you kind of get the passion to work in athletics?
I think I've always had it. I've been an athlete my whole life. Athletics is kind of what I've done. I did a 5th year of college and I needed some extra units to graduate. And so I did an internship in the track and field office. So I helped with some of the administrative stuff, like the behind the scenes. Obviously, as an athlete, you kind of see what happens out on the track or what I saw. But being in the office, really, I was like, wow, I could do this full time. to be able to walk alongside, athletes that were going through the stuff that I went through, and to kind of be a mentor in that way. But also, organization and logistics are some of my strengths too. So to be able to put that all together into a full-time job is really, I was sold. So
one of the unique things about Bethany is she has gifts both in people and in the details. And so whether she's working with student athletes or whether it's with our family, she cares about people, she relates well to people and what they're going through. But she also, with her job in admin, has to be, detail oriented and have a plan and follow it and get the job done. She has to really be task oriented in that. And she does the same for the family. She keeps the house in order much more than I do. And so to see those skills at work, both at home and in the office, is pretty cool, and I'm proud of her.
Can you tell me about your job right now, and also just describe the previous jobs that have also set you up to be where you're at right now?
I graduated and immediately went into an assistant coaching position at UCSB. In the summer of 2012, I was hired here at APU as an assistant track and field and cross country coach. And I was still part-time, but was here a lot, kind of putting in more hours as a coach. Coached for 7 years, and then in 2019, I was hired on full-time as a compliance coordinator, and I was also named the senior woman administrator. And then 2021 summer, I was promoted to assistant athletic director. Now I don't do compliance as much, but I do internal operations, which is a lot of budget management for the department, working with coaches more, working with HR, things like that. So a lot of like the office stuff and the behind the scenes admin stuff for the athletes. And so that's what I am now, yes.
Coach's perspective. How does a coach see this issue? How would a coach respond to a decision? How would a coach want to see something develop? Bethany brings a sense of organization. Obviously, anyone who's detailed and meticulous as she is going to be naturally organized as well. But she also does that for us as a department, making sure that we're organized as a department. But beyond that, she is joyful. She brings a very fresh attitude to work each day, very positive attitude. And with that, she also brings accountability. She is one of those people, I think it's Ephesians 4:15 talks about speaking the truth in love. She can do that. She can be truthful and yet very loving in that, and brings it in such a way that you want to comply with what she's asking just because of her personality and who she is.
I mean, that's always my hope, is that I'm just in the place that the Lord wants me to be. I'm such a relational person that I love to, like, any opportunity to go get coffee with someone or sit down with them or even serve them in through my job or whatever, is really, for me, how I feel like that's where the Lord's gifted me, and so that's how I want to use those gifts. And so I try to take in my job, try to take more of like a servant leadership type role, where I come alongside and how can I serve you and help you do your job better. But really, ultimately, with my faith in my job, it's okay, Lord, here's where you have me. How can I best use the gifts that you've given me and what I've done, and just kind of show people who he is through the way that I interact with others.
Her heart is so pure and so genuine that in any interaction that you have with her, it allows you to not only see that servant heart, but also want to model it after her and do it in your own life. She is very kind, very diligent, and very dedicated to her job and all these other things that she's juggling, especially when she's working with SAC. I know she's constantly bettering and performing to be better for our SAC team, to guide us and give us the admin and the leadership, and as well as give us new ideas. Her servant leadership and her servant heart rubs off on all of us, especially in our meetings. It makes us want to strive to be better leaders and to have a heart modeled after Bethany.
She really is a terrific person and a real joy to have on our team. She has really become my right-hand person and someone that I lean into to A, get work done, and B, to give me a valuable viewpoint of a situation, and she's not afraid to counter a viewpoint I might have. She's a what I would call a top drawer person, or a hat hanger, someone we would hang our hat on and say, she's one of ours. She's very, very good at what she does, and she's an excellent person. I think her parents did a great job raising her, and I think the Lord is doing great work through how He has designed her.